Hello guys, so today we're going to be creating a button with a gradient border using HTML and CSS. So I have VS Code opened up right here. I have my HTML and CSS file ready. So now I'm just going to start putting stuff in this HTML file. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put an exclamation mark and hit tab. Now this is everything that we need for our document. I'm going to make the title gradient border. And then in the body, I'm going to give it an ID of body. And then I'm going to link the HTML file to the CSS file. So I'm going to put link rel equals style sheet href equals styles.css. So in our body, all we're going to need is a button. And I'm just going to make this button say click me. And I'm going to give this button an ID of button, because that's the only button that we need. Now in my style sheet, I'm going to link the body, put some curly braces, and now I'm going to apply stuff to the body. So I'm going to give it a width of 100%, height of 100 viewport height, margin 0 auto, and then this next few lines of code, this centers everything in the body in the center of the web page. So I'm going to put display flex direction column justify content center and align items center. So flex direction, make sure that anything in the body is stacked on top of each other, like these lines of code are right now. And justify content aligns it across the x-axis, and the align items center aligns it on the y-axis, which puts it in the very center. So now let's save this and open our HTML file. So this is what our file looks like. This is what our web page currently looks like. And as you can see, this button is at the very middle of the web page. So I'm going to put this to the side so that we can still see it while we're coding. So now I'm going to do the button, add the curly braces, and I'm going to apply things like the width 150 pixels. I'm going to make the height 40 pixels. And let's see how that looks. Okay, that looks like a normal button. I'm going to make the font size of the text 1.5 em. Okay, so now we have our button. And I'm going to give it a border radius of 15 pixels. Okay, so this is how our button looks right now. But unfortunately, we cannot do this. Border solid 5 pixels, and then we put linear gradient. That just doesn't work for some reason. So what we're going to have to do is we're actually going to have to make the border property none, because we don't want to see this. We don't want to see this border because we're going to be adding a border. So back to our HTML file, I'm actually going to put this button inside of a div. I'm going to give this div an ID of button. No, sorry, I meant border. And then I'm going to put my button, I'm going to cut and paste it inside of the border. And nothing changed. That's because the div, I haven't applied anything to the div yet. So I'm going to do my border, curly braces. I'm going to make the height fit content. I'm going to make the width fit content. And now fit content just makes it literally, it's exactly how it sounds. It just fits everything inside of it. but we want the border to show, so we're going to give it some padding. So we're going to make our border 4 pixels large. And we still can't see it yet. That's because I need to apply a background color. Let's make it red. Let's see how that looks. Okay, now we can see our border now. But we don't want this to look like this. So we're going to apply the border radius. And we're going to make it the same as the button, which is 15 pixels. And now they match. Okay, so now with our div, we can add a gradient to it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the background color to just background. I'm going to make it a conic gradient. And then I'm going to put all the colors that I want. So I'll put red, orange, yellow, lime, cyan, and hot pink. And before I save this, I'm going to make this button temporarily invisible. So I'm going to make the opacity 0. So this is how our actual border looks right now. So as you can see, it's a conic gradient, which means that all of the colors just emerge from the middle and then go outwards. But we don't want these two to mix. So I'm actually just going to put red at the end of this too, so that the red at the end mixes with the red at the beginning. And now we have our gradient. So now let's see how this looks with our button. Look, now, okay, cool. So now we have our gradient border. So now what we're going to do is we're going to add something. We're going to make it so that it moves around in a circle. All the colors just move around in a circle. So I'm going to give this border an animation of rotate. I'm going to make it last 2 seconds, infinite, and normal. I'm also going to make it linear. So now we're going to add our animation. So at keyframes, and then our name, which is rotate. And now we're going to add like 0%, 10%, 20%, all the way until 100%. That's what I'm going to do. 0%. You can skip over this. I'm actually probably just going to cut this. Okay, so now we're going to add a filter for each one. So the filter that I'm going to use is filter, and then I'm going to put hue-rotate and then parentheses. So what this does is it rotates the color. So like if I rotated it 100 degrees, red would become cyan. And if I rotated it 360 degrees, it wouldn't change at all, because 360 degrees is the same as 0 degrees. So at 0%, I'm just going to make it 0 deg. Colon. So nothing changes, but I'm going to change that throughout each one. So I'm just going to copy this. Okay, so now I'm going to need my calculator for this to find out what 10% of 360 is. So, yeah. Wait, I'm pretty sure I know what this is. Oh, wow, yeah, it's 36. Wow, okay. So we're going to make 20%, 36 degrees. Now we're going to add 36 to 36, which is 72. We're going to add 36 to 72. And then finally, at 100%, we have 360. So, yeah. So now we have our animation. But, okay, wait, no buts. Now it's moving. Cool. As you can see, it's rotating around. Cool. I like that. Maybe we could make this background dark. So I'm going to make the body's background color black. And then I'm going to make the button's background color black. And now we can't see our text anymore, so I'm going to make the color of the text white. And if we want this to have a glow effect, we could definitely do that. So let's give the border a box shadow of 0 pixels, 0 pixels, 20 pixels, and then let's make it red. And as you can see, it looks like it changes colors. Let me make it a little more blurred so that we can see it a little bit more. Okay, cool. So now the color is changing of it glowing, which is awesome. So let's make this a little bit bigger. Let's make the button a little bit bigger. So let's just transform scale 2.5. And then I'll also add that to the border. Oh, wow. Oh, okay. Maybe we only need to add it to the border. So my bad. All right, so now we have our button, and it looks really huge, but that's just how it is. Cool. So now we have our gradient button that also glows, so that makes it like 10 times cooler. So yeah, that's it. Thank you for watching, and yeah.